is having a fantastic time on your Wednesday afternoon. All right, let's get started here. I am Kim Hansen, the leadership coach, and I am broadcasting live from Los Angeles, California today. And today we're in a series that I've been talking about. It's a 5-part series on the 4 pillars of change. First of all, I want to tell you guys that if you have any comments or questions, please type them into the comment box. I would love to hear what your comments and questions are. Also, I love your hearts and thumbs up if there's something that I say that you like. Please let me know by giving me a little acknowledgement, because everybody loves a little acknowledgement. So I will try and answer your questions as we go along today. I'm going to also screen share a PowerPoint that I have, but I want to let you know this, you'll be with me for about 30 minutes today. And at the end of the 30-minute session, or a 30-minute Facebook Live, I will be giving you a great offer on my next master class, which is starting July 30th. It's just one class, and it is on the 4 salon cultures that I've defined, and it will it'll help you do a lot of things. It will help you not only define your culture, but be able to look, watch out, what to watch out for in each culture, and why you want to define a culture, why it has to really sort of be just one culture, why you can't, you know, have a mix of 2 different cultures. And it will be live and interactive. So make sure you watch till the end, because at the end I will give you a great offer on that masterclass. But today we're going to be talking about direction. So it is the first of my of this 5-part series that I've been doing here, and I am going to screen share up here. Let me get to my screen share. So I've been noticing I've been going over my 30 minutes, and I want to keep it as brief as possible for you guys. And I know 30 minutes is probably a long time for all of you to be with me, because I know all around the people are always listen from all around the United States. And Anthony is listening from Australia. Hey, Anthony. Thanks for joining me. So what time is it over there in Australia right now? Here it is 4 o'clock on Wednesday, and some people are making dinner, some people are coming home from work, some people are putting their kids to bed here in the US. So I know everybody's busy, and I want to keep this as brief as possible, but give you as much information as possible. So, like I said, these are the 4 pillars of change. We have, let me move my, I didn't really mean to do that. Just kidding, you guys. I'm ahead of myself. I wanted to move my text box out of the way so you can see. Okay, So we are on take 3 of the 4 pillars of change. The 4 pillars of change, I designed them because I noticed a lot of people that I coached had a difficult time with change, but it wasn't necessarily them that always had a difficult time with change. It was their team that had a difficult time with change. And a lot of people came up with a lot of different reasons when I started asking why. And a lot of times a big one is it moves people out of their comfort zone. And yes, it does. But also we need to keep in mind that as leaders and as salon leaders, we make a decision to make change. And oftentimes it isn't a change that our team is really sometimes on board with. Sometimes there's resistance from them with change. I know you guys get that. Hi, Bonnie. It's 9 a.m. on Thursday in Australia. Fantastic, Anthony. Well, thanks for joining us here on your Thursday morning. So hi, Caroline. Hi, everyone who is joining. I think that's who I got so far. So oftentimes in your business or in your salon, or even, you know, if you're a leader in any way, shape, or form, even in your family, you make a choice to make change. And a lot of times we get that resistance when we butt up against that wall from the people that we're trying to bring along and who are following us. And that creates sometimes frustration for us. So I created the 4 pillars of change to make change more effective, and B, easier transition for the people that we lead. So the first Facebook Live I did was on why we want to create effective change and why we actually want to follow a guide. And the second part was reflection, which is what we did last week. If you missed it, it is on my Facebook page, so feel free to scroll down on my Facebook page and find it. And what we talked about in reflection is taking time. A lot of times I notice a lot of the people that I coach are always sort of in action, and they don't really take time to reflect. And I like reflection to be a habit, a daily habit. So at the end of the day, to take some time at the end of the day to reflect on the day, reflect on different things that happened during the day, and really tune into how people reacted to things. And it's important to reflect because it teaches us. Reflection is a teacher. And so that's what we talked about with reflection. And today we're on our second pillar, which is direction. And why do we want to take direction? So oftentimes sometimes we have so much going on in our mind, and we're not quite sure of the direction that we want to take. So I think of this. I think about, everybody knows the Wizard of Oz. Hey, Annie. Hey, Albie. Thanks for joining. Everybody knows the Wizard of Oz. I think most people have heard of the Wizard of Oz, and most people have either seen the old version of the Wizard of Oz or the new version of the Wizard of Oz. But this picture is from the old version because I am a traditionalist and I haven't even seen the first version. But I remember when Dorothy comes to a fork in the yellow brick road, she was told, just follow the yellow brick road, just follow the yellow brick road. And she comes to a fork in the road and she doesn't know which way to turn. So she sees the scarecrow, and the scarecrow, if you remember the movie, the scarecrow tells her maybe that's the direction and maybe that's the direction. And that's oftentimes how we feel. We're not really sure of the direction to take. So that takes some thought and some time, and it's really the planning phase to effective change, where you really start thinking and drilling down on who follows you, and what is their reaction going to be, and what's best for everyone. And sometimes we have a tendency, there's always like that one kind of, you know, that one person that we think about, oh, you know, they're not going to want to go along with it. And, you know, we always tend to want to make change because, you know, we kind of fear that one person that is going to be that negative Nelly about, that they're always negative about change. But what we want to do is we want to look at our organization as a whole, or the people that follow us, or the people that we lead as a whole, and make good choices and effective choices that have a positive impact on the organization as a whole. So how do we do that? We want to, remember guys, if you have questions, comments, please post them in the comments section. If I could, I would type in hi to everybody. So I'm just going to say hi, Marco, hi, Nicole. Thanks for joining us. So we want to keep the big picture in mind. And if you've heard me talk before in these live master shares, and if I coach you, you will have heard me discuss the foundation. Your foundation is the most important part of your entire organization. It's your mission, your vision, your values, your purpose, your culture. It's what you believe in. And you've also, if you've followed me on Facebook, or if I coach you, you will know that I use a tree, and I have a culture tree. And I talk about that everything that we do in our organization has to water the roots, and those roots is the foundation. And if we're not constantly watering those roots to what we believe and our values, and then our vision can't really flourish. So we have this, naturally, you know, fear is there for a reason. Fear is there to stop us from making stupid mistakes, right? So fear is there for a reason. So fear is there to stop us. But sometimes we get caught up in fear, and we not only stop, we get stuck. So how do we get unstuck? We take time in this direction phase. This is where we get unstuck. And this is where, when we're following the yellow brick road and we come to that fork in the road, and the scarecrow says, well, maybe turn that way, and maybe turn this way, and maybe turn this way. And we're confused. We don't know. We don't have a clear understanding of the direction that we take. So the very first thing we need to do is we need to keep our values and the understanding of what we want to create, and our purpose, why we exist, why our company exists, why we exist on this planet. what makes us unique and different from the next guy. So that is the first thing that we want to keep in mind. So direction is in the 4 pillars. Direction is exactly in between reflection and action. Hi, Bernie. And that's because we don't want to take action before we've actually made a plan. And I'm sure you guys have all heard that saying, hope is not a strategy. And that's kind of, I want to point out that, famous quote. I don't even know who said it. Maybe if somebody knows who said hope is not a strategy, you can put it in the comment section. But the direction part is, if we don't take time in the 2nd pillar, so we might reflect and then we might feel like anxiety of having to make change. And so we just decide, okay, I'm just going to change. And then we go directly into action. We're basically using hope for a strategy. We're not taking time to think about what our plan is going to be. And it's about developing strategies. So this is where we develop the strategies and systems and habits to maximize your desired impact. Don't think about the action phase right now. You want to think about the plan, but you also want to think about the 4th pillar, which is the impact. What is the desired impact? What is the desired outcome that you want? Could be anything. I have this personal brand sitting here that I was just sent today. And I think about the decision of carrying a personal brand. For some people, that's a big decision, whether to drop a line and carry a personal brand, or to piece out brands, or to have full representation of one brand. That is a big decision, because retail can be a huge driver in your salon. One of in a salon. I'm having some difficulty here. My screen is just crashed, you guys. I don't know, can you guys see me? I'm hoping. Okay, I'll wait. So sorry about that, you guys. I don't know what happened. My Zoom just crashed for a minute. So I hope you guys are still on. Hi, Eric. So anyway, we're talking about reflection and how it's in between action and reflection. So we want to reflect first, but we want to make the plan before we take action, but we want to think about the impact. And this is where we create the effective strategies and systems and habits to maximize our desired impact, right? So these are questions for you. And if you're thinking about, like I was just utilizing example of bringing in a personal brand, or bringing in a new brand or a new line and dropping a line, or maybe when we want to piece out a line in your retail. So this is just one example of a decision that an owner really needs to think about, and think about really strategically. So one of the questions to ask yourself is, will it be received on a personal level by my staff? So will you have buy-in? And more effectively is if you think you might have buy-in. Let's say you're carrying a brand and nobody likes the brand and everybody is excited to get rid of it, right? And you're trying to decide what to do and how to replace it, or maybe you're going to get rid of it altogether and just keep maybe another line. So how will you have buy-in from the people that you lead? And if you do have buy-in, or if you don't have buy-in, how are you going to get buy-in from them? How are you going to go about getting each individual person on board with your decision before you put it into place? And I see this all the time in coaching, where a leader will make a decision and a pretty big decision that affects the team as a whole, and they don't take time to get buy-in, and they don't take time to think about how they can get personal buy-in, or buy-in on a personal level. And what I mean is they have to love it. They have to love it. Now, they may have fear too. I remember when we were switching from commission to team-based pay, there was a plan in place and a process to walk them through their fear that they had, because you're messing with people's security, you're messing with people's paychecks, and that's scary to people. And so as leaders, we need to understand that what we do has impact on the lives, and oftentimes not only the professional lives, but the personal lives of the people that we lead. The second thing is, can it be repeated every single time? Consistency, consistency, consistency. If you're going to put in a new system in place, we're on this thing about retail. If we're going to put a new retail system, not a line, but a system to help sell retail in place, it has to be simple, and you have to have buy-in, and it has to be simple enough to be able to be repeated time in, time out, every single time with every single client. Let's say we're going to throw 5 changes at our staff, and then it's like, they're like, whoa, this is like too much change. This is too much change at one time, or even 2 changes. This is too much change. This is too much change. They need time, and the one system, whatever we're creating, needs time to have roots. It needs time to get roots and to get rooted into our culture and to grow, because what feeds the culture, it's the systems or the trunk of the tree, which brings the water up, right? If you think of your roots, it brings the water up the trunk, up to the top of the tree, to the very, very, very outer leaves of the tree. If you're not growing deep roots into that system, whatever system or strategy or habit that you're trying to create, it's not going to get up to the very, very tip of the tree. It might get halfway up to your strongest people, but to your people that are out there and they're just weak little leaves, just newly growing, can it get to them? The other thing is, how will it be communicated when you're not around? So we all like to take vacation, right? Nobody likes to be in their business 24/7. My business was open 364 days, no, wait, 362 days out of the year. We were only closed 4 days out of the year. I actually think that might be 3 days. So maybe it was 363. And we were open 7 days a week, 12-hour days. And at holiday, we were open like 16-hour days, 7 days a week. So I wasn't going to be around 363 days a year, 24/7. There's just no way I could be around all that time. So how is your system going to be communicated from one person to another person to another person with simplicity? You guys, I am like famous for complicating the hell out of stuff. I mean, you should have seen some of these spreadsheets that I created, because I think if you watched my master share on Monday that I did with Oscar on leadership, I have a tendency to think in my head, the more complicated it is, the more smart I seem. No. The simpler it is, if you can create such simplicity and such consistency and such precision in a system or strategy or habit, that is what makes you smart. If you can take something so complex and drill it down into very simple directions that any, like directions for dummies, they have those books, Social Media for Dummies or whatever. If you can make it that simple, that's what makes you smart, because you want consistency where every single time that action is carried out in the exact same manner, in the exact same way. Hey, Kenneth. So on to my next slide, a life by design, not by chance. There you go. This is what direction is all about. It's about creating a design. It's about that creative process where a lot of us are hairdressers, okay? And how many times do us as hairdressers just go in and start cutting hair? If you're a good cutter, never. And as a matter of fact, there are some times when I do color, or even when I do a haircut, I'm more of a cutter than a colorist. But there are times where I do hair color where I have to walk away and I have to really write out exactly what I'm going to do and really think about my process to get from point A to point B to what? Create the impact that I want to have, because that's what I'm going for in the long run, is the impact, right? So I just can't just start, throwing color in a bowl and just throwing it on the hair. There's a process and there's a plan and there's a strategy we create. It's the same thing with business. There's a process and a plan. It's not just by chance that a well-oiled machine doesn't run like a well-oiled machine unless it's well-oiled, right? It needs time and attention. That's what it needs. You can't just run a car, 100,000 miles without changing the oil. Heck, you can't even run a car 10,000 miles without changing the oil in your car. You have to take care of it. You have to maintain it, right? So this direction part is part of, you can think of that process of the maintenance part, or if you're a hairdresser or colorist, it's that planning part of the process. So understanding the importance of the second pillar allows us to build a life, business, and career that is intentional. What is your intentional? What do you intend to create? What do you intend to do? What's the impact that you intend to have? What's the quote that I said? Strategy, hope is not a strategy, right? Taking time to think about direction creates a well thought out plan based on reflecting, that's our first pillar, on what worked and what didn't work in the past, learning from our failures, right? So reflection and what we want to create, it's the impact. Many people go straight to action without taking adequate time in the direction phase of change. I see it all the time. Owners make a decision to bring something in or to create new software, new pay system, new products, new service wheel, new whatever, checkout process, whatever it is. I see it all the time where owners, they don't actually take time to take into account their team. I seriously see it all the time. They don't take time to take into account their team and the time to get personal buy-in from their team. And then they're wondering why their team doesn't want to go along with it. And they say, well, it's out of their comfort zone, or they don't like change. Well, nobody really likes change, especially if you haven't bought into change. Okay? So things to consider. Does the change that you're going to make consider the big picture? This wide, this big giant, I'm always going to use the tree, you guys, I'm always going to use the culture tree. Does the culture is that big, beautiful, flowering, blooming tree, whatever it, whatever kind of tree that you have, it's that big, beautiful part that everybody wants to see, right? That's what your big picture is. Does your plan or whatever you want to change, the direction that you want to go in, does it consider the big picture? Is it aligned with your priorities? So we actually have to prioritize in business. And some things just aren't a priority. Like here's one. Is the trash taken out every single night? That might be a priority if it's really bad. But that might not be a priority in comparison to you have a retail percentage of maybe 8% of your total gross sales, and you have a ton of inventory on your shelves. Then your retail might be a priority. We have to think about where to maximize our energy and our team's energy, because it's not just us guys, it is our team. What are we bitching at them about? What are we complaining at them about? Is it this dumb little things? And yes, those dumb little things are important. Taking out the trash is important, right? And it does have a tendency to irritate you if it's never taken out. But then that's a broken system. That's a broken system. That's a broken closing system, because usually in my salon, it was always the closers that had that took out the trash, and they had very definitive, and it was signed off and checked off, and there was a system in place. So if taking the trash out and people leaving the place a mess at night and dirty laundry all over the place, then that can be a problem for the opening people, right? And so if that is your priority, then make that your priority and create a system that is simple and effective, that actually impacts you know, the cleanliness for the people that open in the morning. Can it be measured? Okay, something as simple as creating closing systems. I see this all the time too, where people have a sheet and it's posted. It's not even laminated. I don't know, you guys. I was a big laminator, but it's just a sheet, just a paper sheet that might hang in the back room of all the closing duties, and there's no accountability to that. So then we wonder why it doesn't happen. So is it measurable? Something like that is measurable, because you can have everyone initial on each individual thing of the closing duties to make sure that each person is accountable to it. Just something like that is as simple as being measurable. It doesn't have to be a big system like one of your 6 drivers. Like, it doesn't have to, you know, like a retail system or a pre-booking system or a referral system. Those are quantifiable in numbers, but and if you are going to change those, you definitely want it quantified. You definitely want to have a starting point. And because if you don't have a starting point, then you can't measure your growth. But something as simple as a checkout, you know, is a checkout system. It can be, you know, checked off until it's created a habit. Everything should be able to be accountable. Everything should be tied to that accountability. Is it actionable? Can they actually take action? Is it reasonable? Or is it so complex and not reasonable that everybody's just going to blow it off and think you're crazy, right? I've seen checkup systems that are super complicated, and steps get dropped, and then the owner gets upset because there was a few, you know, maybe pre-booking didn't get done, maybe, you know, retail didn't get done, and then your pre-book numbers are dropping and your rebook numbers are dropping, or your pre-book numbers are dropping and your retail is dropping, and because the checkout system isn't in place. I say retail at checkout because that's where our closing was, but so I just, maybe you guys have a different time where retail is in your service wheel, but it doesn't need to be complicated. Is it actionable? Can they actually take action on it? Does it take into account your attention, time, and money? One of the things that I'll mention, I'll shout out a name here, Tom Kuhn. One of the things that Tom Kuhn taught me is about your ATM machine. And your ATM machine is your attention, time, and money. Does it require a lot of attention? Is it going to continue to require a lot of attention? Is it going to require a lot of your staff's time? Nobody's going to want to make a habit of a system that's going to take a ton of time, right? They want to make money. They want to do clients. They want to do what they love. They want to create beautiful hair for you. So don't make a system complicated. Money, is it going to cost you a ton of money? If it's going to cost you a ton of money and you don't have the money, don't do it. If you want to bring in a new retail line and you don't have the money, and the manufacturer is requiring, you know, $10,000 full representation, and you don't have 10 grand, don't do it. You want to save for that. There, you create forced savings, so you don't have to go to your credit card and swipe your credit card one more time. Manufacturers are notorious because they want to get you to buy. So what do? They create like this system where, you know, this payment thing where you can pay a little bit now and a little bit there and a little bit there. But wouldn't it be better if you decided to bring in a particular retail line and they wanted full representation, and you wanted to give them full representation, okay? But instead of like swiping your credit card or going into debt with them and then being stressed out, why not do a forced savings account where you're taking what you can afford each week and put it into a forced savings and figure out how long it's going to take you to save to do that. Don't go into debt because somebody's trying to sell you on a product, on a system. Don't go into debt, guys. I've done it. I've swiped my credit cards more times than I really cared to have. I do not even have a credit card anymore. I will let you know because I've done it so many times, and I've done it because I've failed at it so many times. And then I end up in huge debt. So what do? I had to change. I had to change. I had to create forced savings. And that is the smart business way to do it. And if it's cost too much money and you don't think it's worth it, then don't do it. Don't do it. Can it be habitual? Can you make something a habit? Can you make a system a habit? Is it simple? Is it consistent? Consistency is habitual. Can it be a habit? So those are the things to consider, guys. I know I'm probably yakking on. So that is how to follow the yellow brick road to the direction to the to see the wizard. I know you guys probably think that my analogy of the Wizard of Oz is sort of silly, but I don't know. I just like ruby red slippers, I guess, and a yellow brick road. I like to have a clear path of where I'm going. So next week is this same time, Wednesday, 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. We're going to be talking about the third pillar, which is action. So it's the part that everyone loves to take action. Like, oh, let me get to it. Let me get to it. I can't wait. I can't wait. Okay, so you have to wait till next week. But first, I told you guys in the beginning of this Master Share that if you hung on with me to the very, very, very end, I would give you an awesome deal. And here it is. So blow up your salon culture. It's my newest masterclass. It's July 30th from 9:30 to 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's live, interactive masterclass. Everybody can talk. Everybody can mastermind. Everybody can brainstorm. It's 90 minutes. I'm going to be presenting, but it's not just me yakking on like I do here. It is, it's private. It is not live. It is not broadcasted on Facebook. I talk about culture all the time. There are 4 of them, you guys, 4 cultures, and all of you fit into one culture, not 2, 1. And there are things that you need to watch out for when you have a culture. There are things that you embrace when you have a culture, and understanding your culture is so important to your foundation, and it'll create so much clarity for so many business owners. You won't even believe it. So my class is normally $47. For the 160, it's just one time. It's not a dragging out masterclass. It's just one time, and so normally it would be $47. Today, from now until midnight Pacific Standard Time, which is just a couple hours for some of you guys, you need to purchase it for $27. So that's $20 off the masterclass, $27. It is nothing. You guys buy Starbucks for more than that a week. I know it. I see you guys there at Starbucks. I know you're buying Starbucks more than once a week. I know you're spending more than $27 on Starbucks. So why not buy Starbucks this week and go and purchase this masterclass. It is only available till midnight tonight for $27. And then at midnight tonight, it goes back up to $47. The code word is action. I'm going to put the link in the comment section after I finish this master share. And so go to the link and then look for the word action. There'll be 2 tickets you can purchase. The one action will only be available till midnight tonight for $27. And there are also only 20 tickets available for $27. Once those 20 tickets sell out, you will not be able to purchase it for $27. And it goes up to $47. And then you have to not drink Starbucks 2 weeks in a row. Okay? So I will see you guys next week. I hope you guys join in on my masterclass. I promise, live, interactive. We're all talking. We're all chatting. Other salon owners from across the country, all talking about culture, problems with culture, how to solve the problems with culture, what are the 4 cultures, why you even want to create a definitive culture. So there you go. You guys have a great night. I'm going to take myself off screen share. And remember, I'm going to put the link in the comment section for the masterclass. You guys have a great Wednesday evening and a great rest of your week. Remember, if there's anything I can do to help you, I am Kim Hansen, and I am the leadership coach. If you're struggling with leadership, just message me, private message me, or email me at kim@kimhansen.net, not .com. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.